What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. My name is Will. Joining me is my co-host Eric. Eric, how are you feeling today, dog?
I'm feeling good this morning, man. Ready to get into another mock draft for you guys. Pretty excited for this one. We're going to be on Underdog today, so we're going to see where our draft slots end up. But real quickly, before we get into that content, just wanted to encourage you guys to subscribe. We are a fairly new channel. We're trying to grow. If you guys could help us hit our subscriber goal of 500 subscribers before the season starts, that would be fantastic. We are your one-stop shop for all things fantasy, getting you ready for your drafts. Obviously, like I mentioned, we're doing a mock draft today. We got positional rankings. We got sleepers. We got training camp updates, all sorts of stuff to get you ready for your upcoming draft season. So stick with us and let's have some fun.
Absolutely. So, guys, we're running this draft through Underdog Fantasy, as you guys can see right now. The draft actually just started. Jay Jefferson, first pick overall. Not really surprised there. But yeah, we're going to be running this through here. We're doing a best ball draft. So in terms of like the people we have to draft, Eric, can you let them know? Because I don't know it off the top of my head exactly.
Oh, the formatting.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that these drafts work on Underdog, it is one quarterback league, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, a flex, and a whole bunch of bench spots.
Okay. And with that being said, we got Travis Kelce off second, Jamar Chase, and Tyreek Hill. We're going to try to keep this draft moving for you guys so you're not watching the entire thing, but we'll make sure keep you guys updated throughout. So stay tuned. We'll keep this thing moving along.
Yeah, and it looks like we drew back-to-back picks against each other, so that should be interesting. We're going to be, kind of sniping each other around each turn. I got the 108. Will got the 109. There goes Christian McCaffrey at the 105.
Notice people are not touching Cooper Kupp right now either.
True. We just got news recently that he has a hamstring strain. Any, kind of lower extremity soft tissue injuries at this point in the offseason are pretty concerning. But obviously there is still a fair amount of time before the season, so we hope that he can be recovered. And honestly, if he makes it to me with one more pick on the board,
mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to take him. Either him or Austin Eckler would be in my consideration here.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Underdog specifically goes very wide receiver heavy, and so I feel like it's pretty important to lock down an elite one early. And so I'm gonna fade the hamstring injury news, and I'm gonna take him here at the 108.
Yep. And I'm going to follow that same logic that Eric had with the wide receivers being heavy, because I learned that the last time we did a draft. You haven't seen that, check out our last draft video we did. But wide receivers definitely something to prioritize in best ball. So I will be going with Mr. Diggs here. He's somebody that we kind of valued the same as someone like a Tyreek Hill is earlier. So getting him this late in the draft, not bad at all. Well, not this late, but you know what I mean, in the first round.
Yeah, this is certainly going differently than we've seen some drafts go the past few days, few weeks. Cooper Kupp was typically like the second or third pick off the board. Travis Kelce does go early, but the number 2 pick was a little earlier than I would have expected. CeeDee Lamb, I haven't seen him go as high as the 106. So yeah, Kupp falling to the 8 seems a little crazy. We'll see if that continues based on his injury recovery news as we get further throughout the offseason. But I love your pick of Stephon Diggs as well. He's probably the last wide receiver of that tier group that I'd be comfortable with.
Yeah, appreciate that, sir.
No problem.
We got Eckler, Nick Chubb off. I like Nick Chubb a lot this year. I think Nick Chubb is actually going to perform quite a bit this season.
Yeah, all of the reports around him have been really positive. Obviously for years and years, people have considered him to be the best pure runner of the football in the NFL, and now Kareem Hunt leaves. And so they're talking about an increase in passing game work and just an increase in snap share in general, which I'm buying into more than the passing game work. That's very encouraging to see. And you are on the clock.
I wanted Amon-Ra there. I'm stuck between Devontae and Jalen Waddle, but I'm also looking at a cheeky Patrick Mahomes down here.
That would be interesting.
I think I might do it. I think I'm going to go with the quarterback right there.
Okay.
Get a little
change up the draft strategy a little bit. I like it.
Just a little bit.
I'm also between 2 guys. Devontae Adams is certainly in consideration. I also really like Tony Pollard this year. I think I have him all the way up at like RB4. So I'm super bullish on Tony Pollard. But again, in start 3 wide receiver leagues, I can't pass on Devontae Adams in the second round. So I'm going to stick with him, and we're going to bolster that wide receiver core.
I like that. Look at Jonathan Taylor down there.
I guess that's some news that we haven't yet talked about on the channel. We're going to be doing another training camp update video here very shortly. It should be coming out this week, but we'll get into all of the specifics surrounding Jonathan Taylor and his current contract situation, his holdout, his potential back injury that may or may not exist. There's all sorts of stuff flying around, which is probably why he's still on the board at this point in the draft.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that video because we will be doing that later this week as well. Nobody wants Derrick Henry in best ball, man?
I'm telling you, like these are sharp ADPs, but also sometimes I feel like people get too far ahead of themselves. It's like they're playing Dynasty in redraft.
Yeah.
Like they fade old running backs all the time.
It's like, 'cause this is a 1 year, 1 season thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There's
There he
Derrick. DK Metcalf.
I don't understand how people are taking DK Metcalf this early.
Yeah, I don't see the upside, to be honest. Like, I guess, I don't know. He's got big muscles, so I'm drafting
Where's
him.
the volume? Sure, like he could have touchdown regression because he didn't score nearly as many touchdowns as expected last year. He could be put back in that, deep role where he's way more efficient with his targets.
Mm-hmm.
But like JSN is just so fucking good, and Tyler Lockett has outproduced him for like the past 5 years.
Pretty much
like
every year.
The last 5 years.
Pretty much every year, yeah. It's a weird situation for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like you said, the volume isn't there. He's going to have to be incredibly efficient.
You know what I'm looking at right now?
Who are you looking at?
Looking at some Mark Andrews if he makes it to me. I might go 0 RB off this start if I can get some Mark Andrews in my life.
I'm about to say, I ain't mad at that. Lamar off the board. That stings.
Love me some Lamar, yeah. One more pick here.
Oh, man.
Okay.
That's a snipe.
Mark Andrews makes it to me. So I don't have a running back yet. There's lots of viable running backs here that I like. Ramondre Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, potentially even Najee Harris. But I'm going to take the high upside play with Mark Andrews. I think he could probably compete for the title of tight end 1 this year in a revamped Ravens offense.
I like that. I'm going to go with one of the running backs that I think is going to perform. And, I'm going to go with Ramondre up here in terms of, health. He is healthy. Unlike, kind of like Breece Hall looking here. Still got to see how he comes back. Josh Jacobs isn't with the team right now, so it's a little tough. So
Yeah.
definitely going to go Ramondre Stevenson. I still think that's a great pick out of those 3.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if Breece Hall was definitely healthy and we knew Dalvin Cook wasn't on the team, and if Josh Jacobs was with the team, like where would you have those 3 ranked? Because they're still really close together, all things considered.
If we knew Dalvin wasn't with the team and if Josh Jacobs was with the team, Josh Jacobs would probably be first. Because, there's nobody. They showed us last year that they were going to run everything through him. Yeah. If I had to go second and third, I'd probably go Ramondre and then Breece just because Breece isn't healthy. But if Breece was fully healthy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If everything was breaking right for all of these guys.
Everything was breaking right, I'd have Breece second in that ranking.
Yeah, it's probably true. Okay. So what are you considering here with your next pick?
I want to go wide receiver, but I want to find a good option, Because I feel like we're in that range where we got a good set of like those wide receiver 2s that we feel like are going to do really well. Like Brandon Ayuk's here, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, even D-Hop down here too. Like people that can still perform this year.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like we said, the wide receivers go early and often in these drafts, and it seems like we've fallen out of that elite tier of receivers, but there's still some elite level running backs, I think, left on the board. But yeah, at this point, roster construction definitely comes into play.
That is true because I could go with like a Breece Hall here.
Round out my really running balanced back position right now.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'm going to take a Breece Hall here. I just don't know what's happening with Josh Jacobs. That situation really scares me right now.
Yeah. All right. So I should probably take a running back. I'm also considering quarterback here. Fields, Herbert, and Lawrence are the guys that I'd be looking at. Joe Burrow's still on the board. But yeah, I should probably stick with the running back position. I think, I'm going to do it, but it's scary, like you said, with Josh Jacobs not reporting to camp. But the upside, if he does play,
it's
and
huge.
I don't know that he has much leverage just based on the running back market right now. Yeah, like you said, it's huge.
Just to get that guy in the 4th round.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So now we got a little bit of a long wait, 12 picks away from my next pick. If Justin Fields is still there, that's probably who I'm targeting. I think he has a pretty good chance, maybe not pretty good, but like it's well within his range of outcomes to finish as the QB1 overall. I'm pretty high on him this year. I think he's going to take a big step up in terms of his passing ability, and obviously we saw what he could do on the ground last year. But if he isn't on the board,
So
I guess I already have a tight end. What's up?
He's somehow the odds-on favorite to win MVP this year.
People are predicting that Jalen Hurts type jump for sure.
But like Jalen Hurts didn't win MVP.
True. Why did I think that he did?
I don't know.
I'm tripping. I was like, wait a second. Is that right?
I know what you're talking about though, because people are saying he's supposed to take a Jalen Hurts type leap. But I was like, I mean, if he does that, I mean, he's not going to win MVP because Jalen Hurts didn't win MVP. But hey.
Yeah. True. Yeah, and while we're on the topic, like, I really like Justin Fields. I think he's underrated as a passer. I think he's a more dynamic runner than Jalen Hurts. Maybe not quite the goal line threat, but in the same realm. And I also really like DJ Moore, but he's not AJ Brown. He's not Stephon Diggs. He's not these guys that we've seen, lift up the Josh Allens, lift up the Jalen Hurtses of the world. He's a tier below that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not expecting quite the same crazy jump. But I guess I did just say he has QB1 within his range of outcomes. I do believe that's a possibility.
I mean,
that's
maybe
not the most likely thing.
That's what a rushing floor will do for you, though, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
It puts you up there in that conversation. That's why we were talking about Anthony Richardson in our QB tiers. You guys check that out. We just put that video out.
All right, let's do some draft commentary here. See where these value pockets are. Obviously, we talked about getting Devontae Adams in the 2nd. I think that's a bit of a steal. You mentioned Derrick Henry going late into the 2nd. I think in home leagues that's not necessarily going to be the case, but in these underdog drafts where wide receivers go early, older running backs especially get pushed down the board. So the second round value on running backs seems to be really high.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could say that for the 3rd and 4th round. I haven't seen Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Najee make it to the 4th yet. And so this is a little bit different than what I've been seeing, but that's tremendous value no matter how you feel about those guys.
I will say right now as we're in the 5th round, and I'm just taking a look through, I really, really do kind of like a lot of the wide receivers that are still left right now too. Like they're not really super elite options, but they are some people still with some good upside, like Marquise Brown, JSN, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, even though he's got Kenny Pickett at quarterback. There's Brandon Ayuk right there.
Yeah, the middle round wide receivers are an intriguing group, and there's kind of a big tier of them, and so they last for a couple rounds, and that's another thing that we've been pushing so far throughout the offseason is if all of these guys are in the same tier, you typically want to try to take the ones at the end to get the best value. Okay, I'm back up on the clock. All of the quarterbacks that I had mentioned, except for Trevor Lawrence, have gone off the board. Do I want to wait and see if he makes it back to me at this point? Let's see. Running back options. I don't really want to take Kenneth Walker with the injury news. Wide receivers. Deontay Johnson, Marquise Brown. Let's go Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
Gonna be honest, I was back against the wall there. I had 2 seconds left to pick. I do like the pick. You've mentioned, Will, that we expect positive regression from Deontay, especially in the touchdown department. He had literally 0 last year, so we're gonna see. Oh, sorry, you're on the clock.
No worries, you can talk. You're good. I'm gonna go. Oh shit. Where's the button? Oh fuck! I scrolled past it. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, not Kenneth.
Oh no. Oh no. You guys watched me fumble that shit in real time, bro. That was tough.
Heartbroken for you. But yeah, like I was saying with Deontay Johnson, expect positive touchdown regression. He's one of the highest target earners in the league, even with Kenny Pickett back there. And we've seen an improvement in their offensive line, so hopefully they have more time back there. Kenny Pickett specifically, he's not under pressure as much. We saw him improve towards the back half of the season. I'm not super optimistic, but yeah, hopefully we can see an improvement in Deontay Johnson's numbers. You're about to be back up on the clock. What are you thinking here?
I'm going to pick the guy that I wanted to pick last time if he's still here. I'm going with George Kittle, round out that tight end position. Yeah, there we go.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting him in the 6th is a great value. I would have taken him in the 5th where you were at. But yeah, I mean, that still works out quite nicely for you. The guy that I was hoping made it back to me and Trevor Lawrence is still here, so I will also get the guy that I was waiting on.
Hell yeah.
Secure my quarterback position.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I've got Kenneth Walker on my team.
Bro, you hate to see it.
It's crazy because I love Kenneth Walker as a player too.
Yeah, absolutely. Tremendously talented. It's just the situation and now the injury concern, the groin pull. Scary.
Yeah, not great news. But hey, Zach Charbonnet is dealing with a shoulder, so that can't be too much better.
And they're saying he's out indefinitely, and it was like non-contact. Pete Carroll, obviously, with the reporting, is always crazy, but that's the quote from him right now. Another thing that we'll get more into in our training camp update video that's going to come out a little bit later this week, so stick with us for that.
This is just, what the hell is Pete Carroll ever talking about, man?
Never know. So, I don't know how many rounds we're going to do on camera. Obviously, we're going to complete the whole draft on our own, but we'll probably stop it. I would say we're about halfway through. We'll probably stop it around round 12 or something like that. So let's do a little status update here on our teams. For me, right now, I'm sitting with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Josh Jacobs at running back, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and Deontay Johnson at wide receiver, and Mark Andrews as my tight end. I'm really liking the way that this draft has worked out for me so far. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is a little bit risky, but if he is back with the team, I'm hype for the roster that I have right now.
Yeah, and I like my roster too. I know I did have one inadvertent pick with Kenneth Walker, but I have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Ramondre Stevenson, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker at running back. Right now at wide receiver, I have Stephon Diggs. I'm hoping to build that out a little bit more. And at tight end, I've got George Kittle. So I feel comfortable with everything I've got right now. I do have to fill out some positions, but I do like some of the names that are left as well too. So I'm not feeling, not feeling like I've missed my window or my opportunity yet.
Yeah, I like your team a lot, especially now that Dalvin Cook has had his weekend with the Jets come and go without being signed, and it seems like he still prefers the Dolphins as his desired landing spot. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but if you get Breece Hall by himself, or at least without Dalvin Cook, I think that's a huge value where you got him.
Absolutely. With my luck, he's going to go to the Patriots.
That would suck, yeah. Although, it sounds like, again, we'll talk about this in the training camp update as well, it sounds like the Patriots are definitely going to bring in a veteran of some kind in the running back room. Not sure who it's going to be yet. They've had Zeke visit, they've had Leonard Fournette visit, they've had Darrell Henderson visit, they've had Dalvin Cook. Or I don't think he's visited yet, but they've talked about him. And I think a similar thing probably for the Cowboys, especially now that Ronald Jones has been suspended for the first 2 weeks of the season. I'd be shocked if they didn't bring in a vet of some kind as well.
That's true.
So let's see. What do we have here? I should have been looking. James Conner, I like at the running back position, and I only have one running back right now, so he's probably who I'm targeting. I like the upside of Quentin Johnston at the wide receiver position, but I feel like he's not quite in the same tier as James Conner for me. I feel like he's a top 15, 16 running back, so I'm going to go with Conner here.
I like that because I am going to go with Quentin Johnston.
Okay.
Just because I do need to round out that wide receiver spot. I feel like this offense is going to be really good too. I know it is a lot of mouths to feed, but I think Elijah Moore. Quentin Johnston will be able to step up. And we've seen him get a good amount of hype in training camp too. He's been making some good catches, trying to beat the body catching allegations.
Yeah. The thing is, similar to what we've talked about with like wide receiver running and stuff like that, it's a tendency thing, not an ability thing. Quentin Johnston is more than capable of going up and snagging it with two hands. It's just when he's in game, in contested catch situations, sometimes he doesn't extend all the way. Sometimes he lets it get into his body. Now, that can be coached out, that can be improved upon, but obviously he's shown in the highlight tapes so far throughout training camp, he's more than capable of catching it with his hands.
Yeah, it's crazy, these narratives that get started about these players, you know?
Yeah.
I remember when they said Jamar Chase couldn't catch a ball. Crazy.
They were trying to say it was because it didn't have the college stripes on him and he couldn't see it.
It's like, bro.
What are we talking about?
His eyes will adjust, guys.
Doesn't even make sense. All right, you got another 3 picks before you're up on the board. What are you looking at here?
I'm still probably looking at this wide receiver spot because I do like a lot of the names that are still left. I still like Traylon Burks a little bit. Brandon Cooks is the more interesting name. I'm probably not touching it too much, though.
No?
I mean, I'm tempted because I feel like he is probably the number 2 option on that team. I know people like to say it's Michael Gallup because he's been there longer, but I think in terms of talent, it should be Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
So Brandon Cooks, the number 2 to CeeDee Lamb's number 1. It's not the worst thing in the world because he's still got a lot left in the tank.
I'm not saying necessarily that you should or that I would take him over Traylon Burks. I think Burks' upside is probably higher, but I am warming on Brandon Cooks so far throughout the offseason.
And it's funny because I was going to take Zay Flowers, but he ended up going off the board 3 picks earlier. So I am going to go with Brandon Cooks here.
Okay. So that puts me back on the clock. I only have 2 running backs, which honestly isn't that bad. I'm looking at 2 kind of higher upside plays with some question marks. Dalvin Cook is still on the board, and Alvin Kamara is still on the board. Rachaad White is there also, but I'm just not the biggest Rachaad White fan. Oh, who am I going to go with?
10 seconds.
Oh, boy. Let's go Dalvin, because I know he's going to sign somewhere, and I don't have to worry about him missing games early on in the season.
Fair.
I mean, I guess the shoulder could always dislocate at any time, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, now we're talking tomato, you know?
But that's definitely on the riskier end. Depending on the construction of your team, you might want to stray away from that. But I already have Josh Jacobs. I already have James Conner, who's also injury prone. I'll probably round out the team, maybe not in the portion of the video that you guys see, but near the end with some depth pieces at running back to try to ensure weekly production, even if it's not high end. But yeah, I'm just looking for ceiling at this point. And especially in like best ball contests where you could potentially win some money, you want to go for the upside most of the time.
Yeah, you want to pick the players you think are going to boom, you know?
Yeah.
That can win you a week. And you know who's not that? Rachaad White.
So let's talk about that a little bit because we've been pretty negative on Rachaad White. And I think, he's got the talent as a pass catcher, and I think he's dynamic in that regard. Last year, their offensive line was decimated by injuries and just poor play and chemistry, and I think it's going to be the same this year. Their offensive line is not going to be good. So obviously you can blame a little bit of his rushing woes on that, but still, he was like the least efficient running back in the NFL based on a certain carry threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's room for improvement? Like obviously he was a JUCO back for a while. He was a little bit of an older prospect, came to Arizona State. Like, do you think he'll find his legs and figure out how to be a competent runner, or is this what we're going to see from him throughout his career?
It's tough. It's tough because usually, all puns aside, running backs usually tend to hit the ground running, when they get into the league. So usually what you see early on is what you're going to get. It's not really like oh man, he's gotten so much better since his rookie year. That's usually not how it goes. If anything, it's going to be more of a decline than anything. They're going to start at a high level and then get worse over time. So it's not the most encouraging thing to see him not performing early, for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've seen people that I trust, people that I follow for fantasy advice on Twitter and on YouTube and stuff like that, hyping him up a little bit. And I can kind of see situationally, just he's really the only relevant back there. They're probably going to be down and passing a lot. And so that means a lot of checkdowns to running backs, especially in garbage time. So I could see that coming to fruition where he's a viable fantasy option. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not willing to bet that he's going to be, better than what we saw last year.
No, I think because it's going to depend on if the team around him gets better. Like if they can get the offensive line better, his efficiency should go up, but I don't think he's going to change as a player, unfortunately. Yeah. Samaje Perine at pick number 100. How do you feel about Samaje Perine in the 9th? You feel like that's a good spot for him now? I think earlier he was going in like the 7th, maybe even the 6th with the Javonte Williams news, but now it's in the 9th.
Yeah, that was a little too early for my taste. I think the 9th and the 10th round is much more reasonable. Javonte, obviously the outlook has been positive, and we've seen good things from him throughout training camp. He's cleared for contacts and stuff like that. It's still going to be a split, I would imagine, for the first half of the season or so. And just based on Sean Payton's usage of running backs, they're split. You know, it's a running back by committee most of the time anyway.
That's true.
I am back up on the clock. I'd like to get some more receiver depth if possible. I'm not loving the names on the board. Michael Thomas is here. James Williams is going to be out for a while. I don't know if I love this, but I only have 6 seconds. I'm going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay.
Kind of a guy that we have another video that I'm planning on putting out soon, like a post-hype sleepers video. Guys that I think had hype last year and disappointed relative to their ADP. And I think Juju Smith-Schuster kind of fits that mold, and so I think he's going a little bit later than he should be.
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely true because he should be the wide receiver one out there.
3 seconds.
I got my hand on the button.
Okay, good.
Going, yeah. I'm going Jamison Williams here. I think I do got the time to wait just a little bit because I do think when he comes back, he should be a pretty featured part of the offense. And he is, out of the two receivers, he's the more of the field stretcher of the two and somebody who I could see having some boom weeks for sure.
Absolutely. Are you nervous at all about any of the reports that we've seen out of training camp that he's kind of struggling? He got frustrated at camp a couple days ago where he had a portion of practice where he had a couple drops, a couple contested catches he didn't come down with, and took a swing at a defensive back. Is any of that worrisome to you, or is that just smoke?
It's not worrisome to me, but I do hope it gets together because one note that I did see is that the fact he is suspended for 6 weeks, it is good that he gets quality reps in now while he can practice with the team. So I would like to see that improve. But in terms of talent, I don't think that's really changing anything. I think it's just a concentration issue.
Yeah.
Especially since he is as young as he is, got suspended for 6 games. I'm sure that's affecting him somehow, and that's coming through on the field.
That would make sense to me. But yeah, he's incredibly talented, obviously. So we hope that he returns to form. All right, let me take a look at your roster here. See what your positional needs are. You're fairly balanced, actually. You've picked a lot of wide receivers recently, so you can go pretty much anywhere with this.
Yeah, I'm looking at quarterback position a little bit, but I don't see any of these guys really having a huge boom week that's going to put me over the top. So I'm going to go with a weapon that I feel like maybe could surprise me, and it's somebody we talked about before. I'm going to go Michael Thomas.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were going to pass on him, and I was actually going to take him.
See?
Yeah, obviously very injury prone. We haven't seen him play any extended period of time in a while, but now I'm in a pickle. Who do I want to take? Cortland Sutton, does he deserve to be this low, especially after the Tim Patrick news?
I don't think so, especially after the Tim Patrick news, for sure.
That might be where I go. He's another guy that could fall into that group of post-hype sleepers who was way higher in ADP last offseason. Obviously, the entire offense disappointed. So we could see a bounce back from him. I'm not necessarily predicting it, but there's no way it can be worse than what we saw last year.
Yeah, I imagine it taking an uptick. I think he's going to be more with the 3 wide receiver crews, I always like to say he's like the Tyler Boyd of the group. He's going to get work. It's just not going to be consistent. It's probably not going to be every week. And Jerry Jeudy, and I'd imagine even Marvin Mims, if he gets the shot, might even get featured more than Cortland Sutton. But that's not a bad thing if it's a good offense.
Yeah. Very true. I am kind of regretting my pick. I didn't really look at all of the position groups. Damian Harris is my guy this year, and he's sitting there as the second available running back. Now the first after Brian Robinson is gone. I doubt he makes it to me 10 picks away. And like I was saying earlier, I have a bunch of risky running backs in my running back group right now. It would have been nice to have him as a security blanket, but I just wanted to mention that so that people are aware. I think we're both higher on him than consensus, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I'm probably more optimistic about Brian Robinson than you are this year too. But I went to a practice, I went to all that. I think he's going to step up this year. I think last year we got a taste of what he could be, but that was also a him that got shot 3 times.
Yeah,
and missed the
that's
beginning of the
true.
season. So I think this year, he's going to surprise a lot of people. To be honest, I think he's going to get back some more of that form we saw at Alabama.
I like it.
But we'll see.
I like it.
I know you don't share the same sentiments.
Well, I think he would have fit my build on this team. I think he's a safe running back. I think he's probably going to be the starting running back. We've heard the Antonio Gibson news that he's going to take over the, I was about to say Jerick McKinnon, not Jerick McKinnon.
J.D. McKissick.
J.D. McKissick. That he's going to take over the J.D. McKissick role and be the third down back. And that certainly is exciting, knowing that he's a former wide receiver and Eric Bieniemy comes in and what he's done with, receiving backs and stuff like that. But, being the number one guy in an offense, hopefully that's improving, like we just mentioned with Eric Bieniemy. There goes Damian Harris, damn it. Is going to prove to be fairly fruitful for Brian Robinson.
And if me going the 1 day of practice proves anything, it's that Antonio Gibson was not really on the field a whole lot. I saw a lot of Brian Robinson, and I saw a lot of Chris Rodriguez Jr. But I think they were doing a lot of downhill running too. But I also saw a lot of screen plays, a lot of that Eric Bieniemy offense starting to get installed a little bit. So I definitely could see Antonio Gibson getting mixed in more. That's probably something they're trying to hide a little bit, how they're going to deploy him, because they really didn't have him on the field a lot, but he was there.
Interesting. Okay, some little insider information there. I like it.
I was only there 1 day, I'm sure. He probably practiced a lot the day before even.
What should I do here? Oh, there goes Zay Jones. Okay, that makes my decision a little bit easier because I have Trevor Lawrence and I'm thinking about stacking him. Especially in best ball, stacks are a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look back at the running back room here, but there's a lot of names that fall into a similar category for me. Obviously, I'd like to wait, but I want to make sure I get a few of these guys. Jerick McKinnon is at the top of the list. I'll probably just go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what he did down the stretch run of last season, and although they did bring in Deneric Prince and Isaiah Pacheco should be coming back healthy, they don't really have another third down back, so I expect him to continue to fill that role.
No, I definitely agree with that. If you didn't pick him right there, I was going to. I just feel like, like you said, they didn't really bring in much competition, and at the end of the day, the team is what it is. I'm going to go Jacoby Myers. Why? Because we're late in the draft. I think Jacoby Myers kind of fits more that mold that at least like a Jimmy Garoppolo kind of fits in terms of play style. He's more of a possession receiver, more that intermediate short range of the field. So I think he's going to get a lot of targets.
No, I absolutely agree. I think that's a good pick there, and especially with who was left on the board, I think he was the last viable volume receiver, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think with Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore, Michael Gallup being the top guys left on the board, this probably will be the last round that we'll show you guys. So just keep that in mind. And then we can kind of do a breakdown once we hit these last couple picks here.
But you guys will see the draft board. You could take a look, but we just probably won't get into the weeds all too much.
And maybe we can take a screenshot of the final draft board once we're finished and put that at the end of the video so you can see the full teams if you'd like.
Yeah. Michael Gallup off the board. Tank Bixby off the board.
He was the guy that I was targeting with this next pick, actually.
Yeah, because we're getting down, like you said, we're getting into these later rounds now. But we're going to have to wait a long time before our next pick. So this next one's got to be good. Oh, shit. I just said it's got to be good. Oh, fudge.
Oh, fuck. Who's it going to be? Back against the wall.
Roschon Johnson.
Okay. I like it. I'm also probably going to go running back here. Just to try to shore up some of my riskier picks at running back from earlier. Tyler Algier, Kendre Miller. I don't love either of those, but I feel like Kendre provides the higher upside there. So let's go with Kendre.
Okay.
So yeah, that will probably round out the filmed portion of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments. Like I said, we'll probably put the full draft board up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know who your favorite team was between the two of us. Let us know the value pockets that you saw in this draft. We'll be kind of breaking that down as we do more and more mock drafts throughout the offseason. And I think probably as we get closer to the end of August, we'll do a full like round by round draft strategy video.
Yeah.
After we've done a bunch of these mock drafts and we get a full handle on the ADP. So stay tuned for that. If you guys can go check the description below, we got lots of links to our partners. FF League Winners is in there. We are partnered with them. There's a lot of new writers coming in and contributing articles to the site. So they're popping off over there with a lot of really good content. Go check them out. Also, because we're partnered with them, we're partnered with Underdog, which we probably should have mentioned at the top. But if you use our code FFLW when you sign up on Underdog, you get a 100% deposit match. So you can be prepared just like we're doing right now with these mock drafts and best ball drafts. Best way to get prepared for your fantasy season. Other partners, we got Do Numbers if you're interested in some cool apparel. We got Dynasty Owner if you're interested in a unique Dynasty kind of experience and atmosphere. It's really cool over there. We're on the site and we're loving it so far. But yeah, we also have a link to our Discord if you want to get into the conversation with us. We got a good community building over there. We'd be excited for you guys to join as well. Ask us all the questions that you have. Yeah, you want to hit them with the YouTube stuff?
Yeah, make sure you guys do all that great YouTube stuff. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you know when we drop all of our latest videos. Hit that like button. It's absolutely free, and it's the best way to get our stuff out there in front of some other people. And like Eric said earlier, make sure you guys are commenting below. Let us know what you think about the teams. Let us know what you think about some of the other people's teams, too, that are drafting, because these are all actual people. If you think someone else drafted a better team than us, point it out to us, because we weren't really paying attention too much. Like we said, we're going to put the draft board up there. So if you think someone else did a better job, or even want us to talk about someone else's team, let us know. But with that being said, if you guys made it this far into the video, as always, we love you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.